Here are today's top stories. At least 10 persons were killed and 2 others were injured in a suspected terror attack at a military checkpoint in Basilan. Key leadership posts at the House of Representatives undergo a revamp on Monday following the change in speakership. The government holds a roadshow to invite more Japanese companies to invest in the Philippines. And PDEA declares over 300 jail facilities to be drug-free. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. At least 10 persons were killed and 2 others were injured in a suspected terror attack at a military checkpoint in Sitio Colonio, Lamitan City, Basilan this morning. The victims were killed by an improvised explosive device planted inside a van. Among those killed was the detachment commander identified as Corporal Sama Juma, 5 civilian auxiliary force members, and 4 civilians. West Mincom spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Jerry Besana said that before the blast happened, troops had stopped the van and talked to the driver, who is a foreigner of unknown nationality. Authorities are still investigating the identity of the mastermind behind the said attack. West Mincom asks local officials and the public to remain vigilant against possible terrorist activity. Meanwhile, Malacanang has condemned the suspected terror attack and vowed justice for the victims. Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque says the government will also make sure that the suspects will be held responsible. Key leadership posts at the House of Representatives underwent a revamp on Monday following the change in speakership. Deputy Speaker Fredenil Castro moved to elect Camarines Sur Representative Rolando Andaya as the new majority leader. Andaya replacing Ilocos Norte Representative Rodolfo Fariñas. Andaya took his oath of office before Speaker Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Sagip Party List Representative Rodante Marcoleta was selected as Vice Chair of the Committee on Rules. He replaces Pampanga Representative and Deputy Majority Leader Juan Pablo Bondoc. Later, Representative Yeda Marie Romualdez was named as chairman of the Committee on Accounts. Castro also elected retired General Romeo Prestosa as the new House Sergeant-at-Arms, replacing Roland de Tabali. Meanwhile, Dante Roberto Maling took over Cesar Pareja as Secretary General. Malacanang welcomes the positive response shown by the United Nations and the European Union on President Rodrigo Duterte's signing of the Bangsamoro Organic Law, or BOL, last July 26. Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque says they are one with the whole world in praying that the Bangsamoro Organic Law would pave the way for lasting peace in Mindanao. Roque added that Duterte was also open to amending some provisions of the BOL to satisfy the concerns of sectors who oppose it. Roque belittled claims that the BOL was rushed and argued that it went through several consultations with members of Congress several times. Meanwhile, Special Assistant to the President Christopher Lawrence Bongo confirmed that President Duterte will lead the ceremonial signing of the BOL on August 6. Roque said if the Aquino administration held a ceremony for the Bangsamoro Basic Law despite it not being passed by Congress, the Duterte administration's BOL deserves a ceremony as well. The BOL seeks to establish a new Bangsamoro political entity to replace the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or ARMM. President Rodrigo Duterte spearheaded on Monday the destruction of contraband luxury vehicles and motorbikes to show that his administration is serious in the fight against smuggling. Over 60 luxury vehicles worth over 270 million pesos and 8 motorcycles worth over 100 million were destroyed as part of the president's campaign against smuggling and corruption in the government. Duterte, along with Cagayan Economic Zone Administrator Raul Lambino, witnessed the condemnation of the vehicles at Port Irene in Santa Ana, Cagayan. In his speech, the president called on the Filipino people to trust his government in addressing corruption. He reiterated his commitment to fight corruption, even if it would mean firing more of his appointees in the government. Meanwhile, Duterte defended Customs Commissioner Isidro La Peña and former BOC Chief Nicanor Faeldon from criticisms of corruption. Duterte also said he does not believe that Faeldon and his son Paulo Duterte accepted a 6 million peso bribe to allow smuggling of billions of pesos worth of shabu in May of last year. The Armed Forces of the Philippines says President Rodrigo Duterte has shown political will with the start of the purchase of submarines for the Philippine Navy. The President approved the early procurement of submarines, which was part of the next phase of the AFP's modernization program. Defense spokesperson Arsenio Andolong says the President is keen on strengthening the AFP with new equipment to improve the country's security and match other armed forces in Asia. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana earlier said Korea is one of the possible sources of these submarines. Meanwhile, the Navy has received the 4 patrol boats from China. The 12-meter patrol boats arrived last week and are now anchored at the Philippine Navy headquarters in Rojas Boulevard. China also donated 30 units of 40mm grenade launchers and 40mm ammunition. The Navy is now studying logistics support for the patrol boats along with their maintenance and use in operations. Still to come, the government holds a roadshow to invite more Japanese companies to invest in the Philippines. Iloilo City and Guangzhou City in China express intent to promote friendly exchange and cooperation. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Hindi lang magtayo ng Youth for Truth Organization. Kailangan stable, solid yung movers ng Youth for Truth. Kasi sila talaga yung panggagalingan ng tamang message. Tamang message against maling message. Dapat maibako yung tama. So, pag palagi pa nag-fake yung nakikita natin, nasisira yung rationality at yung emosyon natin. Kuwang-kuwa lang nung una natin nakita.
Ikot namin, no? Naka 20 plus regions na kami. Hindi lang kami pumunta para ito lang ang gawin natin. Tapos, ang ginagawa namin ay nire-review namin paano ang communication flow ng isang lalawigan. You have to be very careful on how to verify our sharing. Our information that we share on Facebook. Ang daming nagkalat ng fake news na hindi mo alam. Sobrang ganda, shinare mo na. Sobrang ganda nung photo na share mo, nakasira ka ng ibang tao. And that will be forever. Whatever you share online, is going to be forever in the internet. Remember that. Pag yung Facebook nyo pala, guys, mga students tayo, as early as now, gandahan na natin ang timeline natin. Kasi yan na ang bago. Yan ang bago, resume or bio data natin. Sinicheck na ng mga ating mga employers kung ano ang lifestyle natin, sino ba tayo.
I will fight fake news forever. I will dismiss disinformation.
I will dismiss disinformation and I will fight fake news forever.
I will fight fake news forever, and I will dismiss disinformation.
I will fight fake news forever. I will dismiss disinformation.
Dismiss disinformation!
The Presidential Communications Operations Office.
The Komisyon sa Wikang Pilipino kicked off this year's Buwan ng Wika celebration with a call for cultural agencies to undertake research using Filipino and other Philippine languages. The KWF's board approved a resolution setting the month-long celebration theme as Filipino Wika ng Saliksik. KWF Commissioner Purificacion de Lima says the theme aims at further promoting the use of Filipino as the medium for creating and imparting knowledge in various disciplines, particularly the sciences. Proclamation 1041 series of 1997 proclaimed August every year as Buwan ng Wikang Pambansa or National Language Month. The 1987 Constitution set Filipino as the country's national language. The Constitution provides that Filipino be further developed and enriched on the basis of existing Philippine and other languages. This week, KWF will spearhead its Kongreso sa Wika in Metro Manila. Various schools around the country will hold their respective informal literary gatherings featuring discussions aligned with the celebration's theme. The Philippines is reaching out to Japanese companies to invest in the country and take advantage of its growth and policies implemented by the Duterte administration to facilitate good trade relations. More on this from Miguel Hill.
Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez led the Philippine delegation to Japan for the 2018 Investment Roadshow. The event aims to encourage leading Japanese companies as well as small and medium enterprises involved in auto parts, electronics, manufacturing, and shipbuilding to invest in the Philippines and participate in its growth story. Lopez told Japanese manufacturer that the country is enjoying a 6.8% GDP growth and an 8% growth in manufacturing industry. He also hopes to work together with the Japanese to strengthen not only manufacturing but the micro, small, and medium enterprises in their value chain as well. According to Lopez, Japan is the #1 source of foreign investments in the country and has been providing technical assistance that can facilitate more trade and investments through the Japan International Cooperation Agency and Japan External Trade Organization. During the first quarter of 2018, the approved investments in manufacturing industry from Japan grew to 7.8 billion pesos from 503 million in the same quarter last year. Lopez highlighted reforms implemented by the Duterte administration, such as ease in doing business, infrastructure development, and further opening up of sectors for foreign equity participation. He also mentioned the modernization of investment incentives under the second package of the Train Law. The trade chief underscored the government's Build, Build, Build program and reforms to foster investments and generate more jobs in the country. As part of the Investment Roadshow, the group had opportunities to meet and discuss business collaborations with leading Japanese corporations, which aim to lead possible joint ventures or trade partnerships. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
The government will continue implementing programs to increase investments to the Cordillera Administrative Region or CAR, which is seen to be the fastest growing so far. The CAR Regional Economic Situationer said the establishment of negosyo centers in strategic areas for the region is being targeted for succeeding quarters. The report said the Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI, will continue the implementation of the One Town, One Product, Next-Gen Product and Market Development, expansion of the Pondo para sa Pagbabago at Pag-Asenso, and the establishment of the Fabrication Laboratory for Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises. It shall also implement convergence programs with other agencies to help MSMEs level up their export pathway stages. DTI registered investments reach over 390 million for the first quarter due to the business sector's speculation on the effects of the train law. CAR reported the fastest growth of 12.1% in 2017 from previous year's 2.3% due to the rebound in the construction and manufacturing sectors. Iloilo City and Quanzhou City in Fujian Province of China are looking at closer ties following the signing of the letter of intent to establish a friendly relationship. Mayor Jose Espinosa III emphasizes that the relationship of the two cities is founded not only on economics but also family and bloodline. He noted that based on history, most of the Ilonggo Chinese in Iloilo traced their roots in Fujian Province. Wang Ri-Kiang, who led the delegation from Guangzhou, cited trade, cultural exchanges, education, and closer relations of port authorities as areas where the two cities could work together in the future. He invited entrepreneurs and business groups to join their annual Maritime Silk Road Expo, a gathering of famous international brands every April 18. The letter of intent states that both parties agreed to promote friendly contacts and develop exchanges and cooperations on fields of economic and trade, science and technology, culture, education, public health, and arts, among others. They will also establish a sister city relationship in the future. As part of their reintegration into society, former members of the New People's Army underwent skills training with TESDA in Davao City. The surrendered NPA members are taking a 10-day automotive servicing and automotive electrical components course. TESDA is assisted by the Army's 16th Infantry Maglilingkod Battalion, the DSWD, and Davao-based outreach program Peace 911. Provincial Director Nestor Tabada says the former rebels and communist sympathizers are sure to benefit from the government's programs, which they can use for everyday life. Lieutenant Colonel Darren Comia, Battalion Commander of the 16th IB, urged the former rebels to work hard and help themselves for their family's sake and for the benefits of their community. Up next, PDEA declares over 300 jail facilities to be drug-free. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Paano kung hindi ko na siya mahal?
Hindi pa tayo nag-uusap pa.
Sumbong ka na sa yaya mo. Kuya!
Asa, kasi na ba to?
Hindi ko.
Ayaw mo ba umauma? Diretso langit ka. Ayaw mo no? Hindi ko alam.
A fire broke out at a community in Zamboanga City where victims of previous fires relocated to start anew. Several fires also hit other communities in Zamboanga City and Holot-Sulu. Here is our Salam story.
Sounds like a plague. Deadly fire seems to hound a group of mostly Muslim families in Zamboanga City and some others in the town of Jolo. Last July 24, the houses of a group of mostly Muslim families were gutted to the ground in Barangay Kasangyangan, Zamboanga City. The late afternoon fire totally destroyed 141 houses, albeit made of light materials. Majority of the victims, easily over 200 families, also lost their personal belongings. Kasangyangan Councilor Alan Hanapi said most of the residents transferred to the site when their houses were burned only last year. Their houses were previously located in Barangay Kasalamatan. Others were fire victims of a huge fire at a public market, dry goods section, 3 years ago, which killed 14 people. The victims have been temporarily sheltered in the covered court of the nearby Don Gregorio Evangelista Memorial School. The city government rushed relief assistance, while civil society groups donated food, clothing, cooking wares, and school supplies for the children. Hanapi said the victims now want to return to their housing site so they could go back to work as construction workers, fishermen, fish vendors, and seaweed farmers. 2 days ago, an even bigger fire hit the coastal barangay of Labuan. More than 400 houses were razed. Most of the victims are fishermen, but even their bangkas and motorboats were burned. President Rodrigo Duterte then visited the Lubuan fire victims and extended cash assistance. The president also flew to Jolo to visit and comfort thousands of families whose houses were likewise burned just a few days earlier. The fire gutted 3 barangays in Jolo with an estimated damage amounting to some 24 million pesos. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Maricor Zapata.
Over 300 jail facilities have been declared drug-free by the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, or PDEA. This means about 75% of the prisons in the country have complied with the requirements of PDEA and the Philippine National Police. BJMP Chief Jail Director Diogracias Tapayan says the 307 facilities implemented anti-drug measures such as intervention programs, random drug testing, and preventing the entry of illegal drugs and paraphernalia. Among the regions with 100% compliance are Regions 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 11, and the Cordillera Administrative Region. Meanwhile, 13 local government units have expressed cooperation against illegal drugs in support of the BJMP. The province of Antique is preparing to host the Boy and Girl Scout Regional Jamboree in February next year. Antique Governor Rodora Cadiao said they are expecting up to 20,000 scouters from around Western Visayas to come to Antique for the Jamboree. Cadiao added that hosting the regional Jamboree is a requirement for a local government unit before it could host the national scouting event. The regional Jamboree this February will be held at Camp General Leandro L. Pulion in San Fernando, San Jose de Buenavista. Antique is vying to host national events as well, including the successful Palarong Pambansa 2017 to promote the province. San Miguel Beer has tied the Commissioner's Cup Final Series with Barangay Ginebra. The Beermen bounced back from their loss in Game 1 to beat Ginebra 134-109. The Beermen stopped the Barangay from cutting their lead despite two of their key stars, Arwin Santos and Chris Ross, getting thrown out of the court late in the period. Santos was first slapped with a flagrant foul penalty after appearing to have hit Scotty Thompson at his torso area while trying to move out of a screen. Ross then had an altercation with Joe Devance, leading to the two getting a technical foul each. Alex Cabagnot made 33 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, and 4 steals for SMB. Justin Brownlee continued his efficient series for Ginebra, making 29 points with 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block. Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's top stories. At least 10 persons were killed and 2 others were injured in a suspected terror attack at a military checkpoint in Basilan. Key leadership posts at the House of Representatives undergo a revamp on Monday following the change in speakership. The government holds a roadshow to invite more Japanese companies to invest in the Philippines. And PDEA declares over 300 jail facilities to be drug-free. Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I'm William Theo. Good day.